Okay, these just got announced, so sorry if this video might feel a little rushed or not scripted or anything. These are just my thoughts, but holy crap! We just got a Sonic crossover with Magic the Gathering. Like, I woke up to my phone absolutely going off as every person who's ever known me from any point of my life was assaulting me with the screenshots of this new secret lair. And like, yeah, I mean, if you know me, this is like that one Junji Ito manga, the Enigma of Amigata fault. Like I'm standing there going, these are my cards! They're made for me! Since the dawn of time, Sonic fans have been making custom Sonic cards for every big trading card game. Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, so much so you'd be forgiven for forgetting he actually had his own TCG. But, yeah, I still gotta get around to covering that, but this news kinda takes priority because we're getting 3 full secret layers of Sonic-flavored cards. So real quick for the uninitiated, a secret lair is how Wizards of the Coast likes to release these fancy little packs of 4 to 7 cards in a limited time only kinda deal. I only bring this up because I know some of you watching probably aren't all that interested in Magic the Gathering, or at least you weren't maybe up until this very moment, and may make the mistake of thinking these cards will just be on the shelves at your local game store. No. If you want to pick these up, you're going to need to go through the carnival of pain that is the Wizards of the Coast website when the lairs go on sale. Seriously, I wish you guys all the best of luck. Like, I normally avoid these things, but I'm going to be right there with you like a pissed off mother on Black Friday trying to grab these. So, now you all know how to get them, let's look at what's on sale exactly. We have 3 7-card secret lairs that are going to be up for sale, all of which feature amazing art of Sonic and his friends. By some pretty noticeable artists too, Tracy Yardley being one of my personal favorites. Now, 2 of these secret lairs are reskins, meaning they're already existing Magic the Gathering cards, but with Sonic the Hedgehog art and flavor text. There'll also be some bonus cards that we don't know about yet, but given Secret Lair's history, they'll most likely be Sonic-themed cards as well. We won't really know what these bonus cards are until they're either leaked online somewhere like Reddit, or we have the lairs in our hands. But let's get to the really good stuff. Because the 3rd secret lair are 7 brand new, mechanically unique legendary creatures. Sonic, Shadow, Knuckles, Amy, Tails, Dr. Eggman, and the Super State. And these are the cards that I think are the coolest of the entire drop. Sadly, all of these cards can't really fit into one commander deck unless you want to find some 5-color legendary to shoehorn in as the commander, but a lot of the cards can fit into a commander deck with Sonic at the helm. All of these legendary creatures have some pretty fun build-around ideas, so let's go through them all one by one, shall we? Sonic, of course, cares about speed, having the haste keyword, which means he can attack on the turn he's played, but also having 2 other effects. The first, gotta go fast effect, which is whenever Sonic attacks, you can put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control with Flash or Haste, incentivizing you to build a deck that's focused around these 2 keywords. The second is that whenever a creature you control with those keywords is dealt damage, you create a tapped treasure token. Honestly, all pretty interesting effects. Sonic makes himself and every card in this lair, besides Eggman, permanently bigger with every attack, which is cool. Though I don't know if I'd include all of the cast in one deck, as they all sorta want to do different things. The last effect, granting us treasure whenever a creature with haste or flash takes damage, is pretty unique, honestly. Right off the top of my head, the interaction with Pyrohemia would be pretty wild. Paying 1 red mana to deal 1 damage to each creature and each player. Then, we'd make a bunch of treasures, so we could activate it again and again. In future, because, you know, the treasures are tapped. But they're netting us more each time. The only downside being, obviously, if we activate Pyrohemia too much, we may just end up microwaving our Mobian friends here. Another card that immediately jumped to my mind when I was reading Sonic is the Mono Red Praetor, Urbrask the Hidden. This guy's often overlooked when people are considering the Praetors for commander decks, as its effect isn't all too crazy. Our creatures all have haste, and our opponent's creatures all enter the battlefield tapped. But with Sonic, this means he's going to be buffing every creature we control, while also ensuring our opponents struggle to get blockers down in time. Next up, we have Shadow, and wow, he is wild. Like Sonic, he has haste, and has another Haste Matters effect, in that whenever he or another creature you control's with haste or flash dies, you draw a card. Kind of a nice little insurance policy, but admittedly, we still don't really want to be seeing our hasty creatures die. Though I'm sure people will either think of ways to sacrifice and recur creatures with haste from the graveyard. Instantly, Nether Trader and Bloodghast are two cards I think of that could be really cool with this kind of effect in play. But what really has me excited is the third ability, Chaos Control. Each spell you cast has Split Second if mana from an artifact was spent to cast it. Split Second is such an insane effect. Like, Wizards of the Coast has been very sparing with these two little words, because not being able to respond to cards is incredibly powerful. It's not just that they can't be countered, but they can't be responded to. And to grant this to anything as long as we used mana from artifacts? What, like Soul Ring, Treasures, Artifact Lands, Signets? Yeah, this is gonna be crazy. I've already seen people looking at Shadow through a CEDH lens, which for the layman's terms is competitive EDH, and I can absolutely understand why. God, I wish he and Sonic were printed with Partner. Having the two of them helm a 4-color commander deck together would be seriously so cool. Next up is, I think, the only echidna to ever be printed into Magic the Gathering. Knuckles. He's got a bunch of keywords in Double Strike, Trample, and Haste, making him a great include in both Sonic or Shadow, but also has two other abilities. The first being whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. That's some nice treasure generation. And speaking of treasure, his third ability, Treasure Hunter, is pretty crazy. It states at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 30, not 13, 30 or more artifacts, you win the game. You just win the goddamn game. Now to be fair, this last effect we've actually seen before. In fact, the card Hellkite Tyrant has this same effect, but for only 20 artifacts, an even easier target to reach. But Knuckles has a great way to generate treasure himself. He's a legendary creature, so if you want, he can be a mono red commander. I think he's going to be a very fun commander. Then we have Amy Rose, a 3/3 hedgehog warrior with haste and... a lot of these cards are warriors, I'm just seeing that now. I'll bet there's some kind of support that we could add for that. Sorry, back on topic. Amy states whenever she attacks, attach up to one target equipment to her, then up to one other target attacking creature gets +X/+O, where X is Amy Rose's power. Interesting mechanic to be sure, but I don't quite think she fits into a deck helmed by Sonic. But let's break that effect down into parts. So the first part, getting to attach one equipment straight onto Amy, is great. Cheating mana costs in Magic is one of the most powerful things a card can do. So getting to slap on a Coldra Complete or a Colossus Hammer is already a great start for this commander. And the second part of this effect, however, is a little more situational, which is that she gets to pump another attacking creature's power, equal to her own power. For a card like Prosperous Bandit, per se, this would be amazing as you create a boatload of treasures when this little guy connects. But normally in Commander, decks built around equipment tend to fall into a category we call Voltron. You know, like the old anime. A Voltron deck usually wants to just gear up its commander and swing in to knock out a player with commander damage. Though, Amy wants you to kind of have a bit of a split investment on the board, so you have other creatures as well as her. I think that's a really cool build around for this commander, and I would be running a ton of the Living Weapon and 4 Mirrodin cards. These are all equipments that, when they enter, create their own creature token that they auto-attach to. Even the Reconfigure equipment cycle from Kamigawa would be great includes in Amy Rose. The more I think about it, the cooler I feel like this deck actually could be. You pick one player to be Amy's punching bag, then swing out all those super buffed up tokens at the other 2 players at the table. Really fun, very Boros-y. I love it. Then we have Sonic's best buddy, the two-tailed fox, Tails. Now, Tails does have Flash, so he would benefit from Sonic's trigger. But outside of that keyword, he really wants to be doing his own thing. Of course, having flying is nice, but he is really cool with a vehicle deck. Whenever a vehicle you control enters, draw a card if it has flying. Neat. Otherwise, put a flying counter on it. Oh, that is very strong. As the resident vehicle aficionado, I can tell you this effect is awesome. And this two-tailed troublemaker is going straight into my 4-color vehicle deck. A lot of vehicles have flying inbuilt into them, which means Tails is going to be providing you with a lot of card draw. Something that you can never have too much of in a game of Commander. But that second part of the effect may actually be even stronger if you can believe it. Now hear me out, because card draw is amazing, but there are some absolutely cracked vehicles printed into Magic that do not have flying. Shurikai Genesis Engine, Salvation Engine, Deluxe Dragster, Reaver Titan. These cards are absolutely terrifying to be facing down. But when you slap a flying counter on them, suddenly that fear is magnified by like 10. The fact Tails is either making you draw a card or making your vehicles permanently fly is fantastic. Plus the little guy isn't even that bad of a crewler himself with 3 power. And on the topic of caring about vehicles, we have the mad genius himself, Dr. Eggman. A 3/6 flyer that brings back the villainous choice mechanic, which we haven't seen printed since the Doctor Who set.
Get a load of this!
I mean, he is a doctor, so... Wait, not like a doctor, like Doctor Who doctor. Okay, moving on. He states, at the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Then, each opponent faces a villainous choice. That player either has to discard a card from their hand, or you get to put a construct, robot, or vehicle straight from your hand onto the battlefield. Remember when I just said cheating mana cost is really strong? Yeah, this is very cool. Though, your opponents do have a choice here, and may opt to just discard a card from their hand instead. Still, the potential is here. He'd be a great vehicle and artifact commander himself. And while you will often have your opponents choosing to just discard a card instead, eventually that effect is going to start really racking up on them. And what if, crazy hypothetical, we had 2 Eggmen? You know, like a Sonic Prime, but like better. Cards like Go-Go Mysterious Mime, Irenicus's Vile Duplication, Helm of the Host, and Sakashima will mean we have a whole damn council of Eggman that'll be drawing us cards and either making our opponent dump out their entire hand, or let us unleash our egg fleet onto the entire table. And the final card is the only non-creature card, but is easily one of the coolest cards I've seen printed in a while. And that card is Super State. A 7-mana colorless enchantment aura that reads, enchanted creature has base power and toughness 9/9, and has flying, first strike, trample, haste, and when the enchanted creature deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to each other opponent. Very, very cool and flavorful effect. Not just letting one of our big guys here go super, but also giving them effectively splash damage to each other player is big. This card is, of course, a cool include in any of these decks owned by these legendary creatures, but it's a really strong include in a couple of other pre-existing commander decks. Cards like Lightpaws, Emperor's Voice are going to love this thing. It's also one of the very few colorless aura cards. The only other one that I can think of at the moment, of course, is the massive Eldrazi conscription. The only thing I don't love about this card, and I hate to complain, but it's the choice of giving the aura haste instead of indestructible. I understand that stapling on indestructible would have made this aura like a lot scarier and oppressive to play against. But, I mean, come on, it's called super form. One of the biggest selling points of collecting all of the Chaos Emeralds in any Sonic game is to become completely invulnerable. I suppose, like, technically you can still be crushed and fall into death pits, but I mean, while granting haste is cool for every commander that's not in the secret lair, practically every commander in this secret lair does already have haste. So it's, you know, kind of double dipping a little bit. Still, these 7 cards are seriously so cool to see coming. I know Magic news isn't really something I cover here on this channel, but I mean, it's Sonic and it's Magic. It's only going to be available for a teeny tiny window. Like seriously, this thing releases on, I want to say, July the 14th, and they are going to sell like hotcakes. I mean, it will go up on sale and likely be sold out within the hour. So if you want these and don't want to pay scalper pricing, make sure you get in there. That's all I want to say. Alright, well, that's all I have for today, so take care!